Magandang hapon, batchmates at classmates. Ngayong hapon, isang alumnus na naman natin na mula sa College of Economics and Management ang makakasama natin at makikipagkwentuhan sa ating segment. Ayan na, hindi ko na pagpapatumpik-tumpik pa. I-welcome na po natin si NEDA Secretary Balisacan. Hello po sir, welcome po sa Tatak UPLB segment. Bago tayo mag-upisa sa kwentuhan, pwede niyo po bang batiin muna ating mga tagapanood?
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat, sa ating mga kapwa Tatak UPLB at sa other listeners.
It's nice to see you po, sir, kahit virtually po, no? At salamat po sa pagtanggap sa aming imbitasyon. Ayan, sir, unang tanong. Recently po, syempre, nakikita po natin yung oble sa inyong likuran. Recently po ay inawardan po kayo ng UP Alumni Association ng Most Distinguished Alumnus Award. Nung nalaman niyo po ang tungkol dito, ano po ba ang inyong naramdaman?
Siyempre, napaka-malaking honor, no? And unexpected at that. And of course, it's humbling also because, when you are given an honor like that, it comes with the responsibility as well, no? It's not just a recognition of the past, but even more conferring more responsibilities. And it's indeed an honor to be a recipient of the award. I was, of course, very happy, very pleased, especially that I did not get my undergrad in any of the UP systems. I think that when I was looking at the roster of former awardees, most of the awardees received their awards as undergrads and not as graduate students. So very rare na may honors given to graduate students, and that add value to this award, at least for me.
Actually, sir, syempre, dahil malaki po ang naging ambag nyo sa ating bansa, kaya po isa kayo sa talagang naging most distinguished alumnus ng UP. Still, Tatak UPLB pa rin kayo. Dahil dyan, sir, pwede niyo po bang i-share yung storya kung bakit kumuha kayo ng graduate studies dito sa UPLB? And also, during your time po ba, mahirap po ba mag-aral sa UPLB?
Nung ko'y graduate sa probinsya, no? Nung dumating ako sa Los Baños, talagang probinsyano. At undergraduate ko sa Mariano Marcos State University. No? Ang degree ko was Bachelor of Science in Agriculture, although nag-major ako in Agricultural Economics. And I was so fortunate that many of my teachers sa agricultural sciences in particular were graduates of UPLB. No? They had masters, they had doctorate, and at that time, sa akin parang curiosity yung doctor na tawag namin sa professor namin doon. No? Then I get to learn more about what those doctors mean. No? And I sort of said that I wanted to be like them. No? I wanted my graduate studies eventually sa UP. So when I graduated, basically, and I was offered jobs dun sa mga agencies within the university, my precondition for acceptance was yung scholarship program ng agency. No? So I wanted to make sure that I will be able to go to graduate school a year or two after I start working. No? And so yung isang agency na it was eyeing for me, it's a research agency. The head of that was a former plant breeder, PhD, very prominent plant breeder, assured me that after 1 year, if I joined the research agency, he would help me get a scholarship so I could pursue my graduate study. And that was the deciding point. I was also being recruited by the university to teach, but they were not as direct and explicit about their plan for me because I really wanted to go to graduate school. So sabi niya, sige, you join us and within 1 year, you could go. And that's precisely what he did. What he promised, he delivered. So he asked me to fill up those application forms, a scholarship sa Southeast Asian Regional Center for Graduate Study and Research in Agriculture, SHIRCA. I was so lucky that there was this person. His name is Rodolfo Cabangba. He was a good plant breeder at TOYM, and he was very young then at that time, very dynamic, and he probably saw something from me, and he said, yeah, you should go to graduate school, and he did his best to get me a respectable, very honorific scholarship given to Southeast Asian students. I was one of those lucky from the Philippines for that scholarship. So I ended up in Los Baños a year after graduation from Mariano Marcos State University.
Pero back then, sir, po ba, mahirap po ba mag-aral?
Well, nung dumating ako sa Los Baños, siyempre, it's a new environment for me. Although the Los Baños is also a province, so was not that much difference. The only difference then, of course, my Tagalog was kind of textbook, no? textbook Tagalog eh. Ilocano kami eh. So pinagtatawanan ako ng mga classmates ko na Tagalog. Kasi sa, ano na yung isa sabi, hindi ko makalimutan yung ano, humihiram ako ng, pahiram naman ng aklat mo. Yung palang aklat, hindi pala ginagamit yun eh. Nasa libro yun, textbook namin yan. Libro pala yung ano eh. So, mga ganon. So, my being an Ilocano was a source of, of fun for my classmates. But no, I had very good and very friendly batch. And I was so lucky to have stayed at the Shirka dorm then, called the Shirka dormitory at that time for graduate students. So I had an international community of graduate students. My dorm mate, my roommate was a Sri Lankan. So yeah, and most of us in the dormitory all of us were graduate students, and most of them were foreigners. So it was fun. I learned a lot there. So I have very vivid memory and good experiences in the dorm. I say that dorm was sort of like my second home away from Ilocos. I spent more time there than anywhere else.
Sige sir, idugsong ko na po muna tong tanong na to kasi mukhang malapit to sa kwento niyo po. Ano po yung favorite yung tambayan dito sa campus? Naaalala niyo po ba?
When I was still a graduate student, there was a Greeks at the time. Wala na yun, where...
Mall na po siya ngayon, sir.
On
Centro
weekends,
Mall.
some of my, usually on a Friday afternoon, some of my dorm mates would go to a Greeks to play bowling, ganon. But I was not the drinking type, so where some of my classmates would go for a drink, but sometimes I would join them in a while, because Los Baños is known for, can't be a student in Los Baños without trying, that's what UP students, UPLB students, I think, are known for. Also, matuto kang magtungga. I never tasted any alcoholic drink before UPLB. So my first taste of beer and other alcohol was in Los Baños. That's how I got baptized there by good friends who are from Los Baños, from undergrad to graduate school.
I'm sure marami pa po kayong memories during your graduate years dito sa UPLB. Pero hindi ko na po isa-isahin. I think nag-enjoy naman po talaga kayo.
Yeah,
And
I
totoo
did.
po yan,
Yeah.
sir. Kilala po
Yeah.
ang mga taga-LB na magagaling uminom. Sabi nga po nila.
Yeah, I know, because after PhD, I taught at UPLB for a year, no? So I got to know more students then. And then when I moved to Diliman, where I spent the rest of my teaching career, then I saw the big difference between UPLB students and UP Diliman students. So one of those guys, talaga.
Malakas talaga.
Kasi one could understand that. Kasi noon, kakaunti yung recreation areas outside of the campus. Wala pa namang mga malls sa Los Baños nung araw eh. The only place students could go was Greeks and some kainan doon sa labas. Yun lang yung pinupuntahan namin noon. There were no other places where you can go for Ngayon, ang dami ng malls, dami ng other places to go, no? So talagang, if you are from the province, what else do you do during weekends, during other times, matuto ka talaga nga.
And it's really a form of bonding po, di ba, within the students.
Yes,
Bonding
of course,
po talaga. Ngayon naman, sir, paano po ba nakatulong sa inyong career ang inyong mga natutunan sa UPLB? Especially yung from SEM na mga naturo.
At that time, SIDEM pa yun eh. Well, UPLB exposed me to a lot of things that were quite game-changing or, direction-changing. I was so lucky to have been advised by one of the most prominent agricultural economists at the time. And working with her also exposed me to many experts in the field and eventually connections. I got to meet of those experts. And at that time also, there was quite a big involvement of IRI scientists in the UPLB teaching. Many of the scientists based at IRI, foreign scientists, were also teaching subject in the graduate school of UPLB. So I was quite lucky to have taken a number of courses, graduate courses from these visiting and regular scientists at IRI at the time. So I met many scientists of international reputation, and that further built my interest to get to the PhD, complete the PhD as soon as possible. And my advisor at the time was quite influential in getting me moving in that direction. So she wrote recommendation letters. for my application for assistantships, fellowships, and so on. So immediately, almost just 6 months after graduating from UPLB, because of those connections, meeting people, their scientists, I got invited to join the East-West Center in Hawaii as a research intern initially before, again, I was asked to apply for a graduate study in Hawaii. That's how I ended at the University of Hawaii rather than elsewhere. My advisor at UPLB at the time was advising me in the mainland, but then when I was already in Hawaii, I was offered to, I was asked to just complete my degree there, which I did. So, so UPLB was so instrumental in the way my career was formed and eventually, moved. Of course, it's also the kind of friendship that I developed with many of these people over time, and which until today, many of them have remained good friends, former professors, have remained very close friends. We meet quite regularly. I see them, we meet them, And yeah, so I think that it was also in Los Baños where I realized that master's was not enough. I just wanted getting into the economics. It's a gradual shift from my interest from agriculture to agricultural economics to development economics. And I think that formation began in Los Baños. Well, of course, when I was in undergrad in Batak, all I was aiming was the agricultural economics degree. But then, as you are exposed to other environment, other circumstances, you see opportunities, you see challenges, and, your future shaped that way. So I was just so thankful that I met the right people at the right time and made crucial decisions and took their advice. Many did help me, a lot because I came from a very challenged family, from a very poor family. The only way I could pursue my studies, even from high school to college, is to have a scholarship. Otherwise, if there's no scholarship, it would have not been possible to go to graduate school. So it's been the luck that I met people along the way who were so helpful and found something in me, I guess. And so at every opportunity, I'll try to do the same thing, helping as many as I could with graduate students, forcing for their, recommend them to graduate school, asking them to do this, do that. It's a kind of paying back.
Actually, Sir Vic, you are very lucky talaga. And at the same time, siguro ito yung sir, blessing po talaga sa inyo. Kaya po kayo blessed na blessed din ngayon. Kasi yung mga pinagdaanan nyo before, talagang parang nag-give back kayo sa university the way na yung ginagawa nyo ngayon sa inyong career. So, again, sir, congratulations. And for my last question, eto po, para po ba sa inyo, ano yung mga qualities ng isang graduate ng UPLB? Yung talagang tatak UPLB, sir, na nakikita niyo sa workplace. Kasi I'm sure marami po kayong nami-meet at nakikilalang mga taga UPLB po.
What's quite unique about UPLB is we attract so many the studentry from various places, mostly in the provinces, So when you get these students pulled in those places, you kind of, it's a real world in that sense. Although the composition of students could have changed, the kind of relationship is quite unique. And that's what I found with my classmates. We were quite varied. Some came from decent, respectable families, but more or less, it's not the kind of gap that you see in many places. And because it's located in the province, the atmosphere is a bit different, it's more friendly. And as I said, during my time, wala ka namang mapuntahan na iba, no? Wala na mall. So, you really have to revolve around your peers, your barkada. Ganun yan. It's quite, unlike when I moved to Diliman, even as I was already a professor then, you could see the difference in the studentry. So, I think the Tatak UPLB there, and I think that students there seems to be even more socially conscious. I mean, people know about poverty so well. Ganun na naman din naman sa Diliman, pero iba yung intensity sa UPLB because, it's especially during my time, it's not ngayon, UPLB is just like, it's a city, it's parang city na, small city na within it, medyo kanay. Pero during that time, talaga it's the place to talk about what can we do for agriculture, what can we do for rural areas. Those are the kind of environment that allows that kind of conversation and discussion. Yeah, and I think that, of course, during my time there, UPLB was still largely agriculture and related areas. No? Yan yung pinakamalaki pa ring population ng Los Baños at the time. time. Unlike ngayon, it's the opposite na. Balit na yung agriculture, malaki na yung mga ibang sciences, no? At that time, so talagang when you are in Los Baños, it's really your interest revolves around agriculture, rural development, regional development, poverty, mga ganon, community development. So, ayan.
Sir, siguro follow-up question na lang siguro, sir. Ano pong pwede niyong advice sa ating mga estudyante dito sa UPLB?
I think UPLB offers a lot of opportunities, at least moving forward, no? So if you are given the opportunity to study, you're not just a scholar ng bayan, but also a unique opportunity to shape the future, not just your future, but the future of your community, of your society. You develop there the kind of exposure, the kind of talents around, the wisdom around. You just have to take advantage of that because paglabas mo ng university, wala nang ganong mahirap nang magkaroon uli ng ganong environment. So, of course, enjoy the connection, develop friendship with teachers, with your faculty members, and the faculty members. That's how I discovered that when I was already working on my papers, I was sort of developing that kind of relationship with my teachers. I get involved in their research. And so while I was doing my degree, I was involved in the research of my professor. So, it develops a relationship that will last for a long time. And of course, you get inspired and you get to know better your field. So don't miss that opportunity. There's no other place where a concentration of wisdom can be in such one place, where you have all these PhDs around you, and take advantage of that. There's so much to learn from them because once you're out of the university, you won't have that opportunity anymore. Make sure that you achieve the goals that you have set for yourself. I'm sure that, especially for those who have come from the provinces, who have come from challenged families, challenged backgrounds, when you go to the university, I'm sure that, as I was, that you have a very clear goal of what you wanted in your life, that you just wanted, a different transformation of yourself, your family, and those are depending on you. And therefore, I don't even have to tell them that to stick to their goal. I'm sure they have, when they go to the UPLB and they made it there, they have very clear goals of what they wanted in life. It's just that building that up while you're in your university, taking advantage of the environment there, people there, your class, particularly even your classmates, because they will grow with you, you will grow with them along the way, no? So, yeah, napaka-importante yan.
Thank you very much po, Secretary Balisacan, for your time na binigay po dito sa ating segment. Ngayon naman, sir, gusto naming marinig ang inyong pong version ng ating tatak shoutout. Sir, pwede po ba naming marinig ang inyong tatak shoutout?
Ako si RC Balisacan, Tatak UPLB.